Tantu Cardinal, Gil Birmingham, a couple other folks.
Nice.
Yeah, check it out. Taylor Sheridan.
All right. Now, Herb, I know we've kept you waiting long enough. We are going to talk about Stephen King's It, but first, I gotta know, Herb, did you get to see the new movie?
I have not yet.
Okay, but you've seen the old school miniseries.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
it had John Boy in the miniseries, right? From the Waltons.
Did he?
Yeah, he was one of the older kids, the grown up of the Losers Club.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think because Bill was that dude.
Can you look that up,
who
Herb?
played Thing's father. Obviously Ben was John Ritter, Jack Tripper himself. Joe Morton, no, not Joe Morton. Damn it, I know his name too. Tim. Something. He played the father on Sister Sister. He was he was the adult.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on a roll now. Hold on.
Anyways,
the grown up Stan. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything. Probably a porno. He had that mustache.
Yeah, it was him.
Wait, who
Look up who played John Boy from the Waltons, and then see if he was in the original It miniseries.
Right. Harry Anderson was damn it, Richie, the comedian, for the funny kid, and we all know Harry Anderson. He was John Ritter. No. John Ritter was Jack Tripper, man. How dare you? Come on. All right. Well, we're talking about Stephen King's It, the new movie from Bill Skarsgård played Pennywise.
Yes, and he's one of the Skarsgård brothers of all the
Stellan Skarsgård and his 97 children.
Stellan Skarsgård's son, and all of the actors. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch more, I guess. I just saw an interview with him on one of the late
Alexander
Skarsgård. He's got like 3 other brothers behind him that are all probably be actors eventually as well.
And Skarsgård, not Sarsgaard. Sarsgaard is the different family. Peter Sarsgaard is not a member, is not a child of Stellan Skarsgård. And that's a mistake I made for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why don't they have Stellan in this DC movie and his son in a Marvel movie and his son in a DC movie? It's like, no, they're not related at all. It's just a weird thing. But off the point, it is a reboot of, and I say reboot, everyone's calling it a remake, but they made enough changes, I thought, that this can be considered a reboot of the Stephen King It
yes,
series.
And I haven't read the book, but I hear it's fantastic. I'm not a huge Stephen King fan. I have read some of his novels, but
it's about 3 times the length of the Bible.
Right.
All right. Any Stephen King book is going to look like
The Stand. I tried to get through there at one time. I was like, Jesus.
The Stand is a book series as thick as Johnny's laptop over
there.
We
keep bringing
this up. The
Stand. I try not to. I've got a horror story about The Stand that I will not say on air, but it involves a very poor choice of background audio. That's all I'll point out right there, right for that. But this is a remake of the book, which came from, I believe, the 70s, and they had a miniseries that condensed the story down to 2 long movies in 1990. That was the one we're talking about, starring John Ritter, starring
Tim Curry.
Not Tim Curry. Oh, well, starring Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
The other dude that played one of the older adults. It was basically the story of It, told from the kid's point of view and the adult point of view.
Yeah, Richard Thomas, John Boy is one of the other actors. It was right.
All right.
Which is following the books. How the story is portrayed in the books is how it was portrayed in that 1990s movie.
Yes, but they condensed a lot. They condensed it down, and a lot of stuff was cut out, and for obvious reasons. I mean, in the book, they run a train on Beverly in the caves to reestablish their relationship as friends. So she's just like, hey, we're all fighting. We got to stick together if we're gonna beat this thing. Tell you what, let me bend over this rock, and everyone have a go. Like, are you
what?
Yeah. There's a lot. I
thought you were going on a really long bad joke. Okay,
no,
I was gonna let you do it too.
I am dead serious. That is
no.
In the book.
Okay.
Yeah, John, you read the book. You remember?
No, I never read the book.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I
might now.
One of the ways they took out spoilers if you haven't read this 30-plus-year-old book. Is one of the ways they eventually beat Pennywise is they all have to approach them together. That's how Pennywise succeeds. He separates, divide and conquer. He separates the group and picks them off one by one. They all have to stick together, maintain that friendship and that sense of no fear, and that's how they can overtake him. And they all start fighting amongst each other, and this is him pulling them apart.
Isn't that what it is? It's like your fears You know what I mean? They're separating them. Then what do you fear most? It kind of harps on that.
Exactly. Well,
which would mean it'd just be a shark, a giant shark.
A giant shark.
That's it. I'd die. I'd roll over and die.
A land shark is the way to take out John.
No,
or even better, a sharknado, so it can come from anywhere.
Yeah.
Just fly through the windows in the building.
At the house,
yeah. But no, so they start fighting amongst each other and they start arguing. And they're like, basically planning to storm off. And Beverly's like, no, I got to keep you all together. I love you all, and we got to, stick together if we're going to beat this thing. Mm. And then she just starts having sex with all of them.
Yes.
Like there is one big group sex scene. That's how they cement. And I get how that would cement the relationship with her. I'm like, unless you're all together having sex with each other.
Yeah, when she leaves the room, they're all kind of looking at each other like, what the hell was that about? Is she all right?
I hope she's all right.
So she looked upset.
Yeah, get some aspirin, some ibuprofen.
Mm. I'm glad they left that out of the movie.
Yeah, they left a lot out, including there's some really deep like H.P. Lovecraft imagery with Pennywise that's supposed to really establish what makes him intimidating. He's not just like an evil movie monster. Yep. He's this figure that really gets into your head.
Well, I watched a good a video essay on the first miniseries and on the theme of water and what water means, and I think it's a movie about water, and they were saying how it's a symbol for your subconscious.
Well, in this movie, the story itself notoriously uses that fantastically. In this new version, I thought they really adapted it well. It starts off with Georgie. The little boy that we see in all the advertising, he's the one that says, "You'll float too." And that doesn't make sense until you get into some of the meat of the story. And the relationship between Bill and Georgie is pretty powerful, which I do like because it's something that would be easily glossed over. It's a relationship between two brothers, but they're kids. So you'd think, oh, it's his brother and it's his brother. His annoying little brother did this, and now he's got to go off on a mission because of him. It's like, Goonies or something, where you think just some kids on a mission where no one's really going to get hurt, and it's going to be a ridiculous fairy tale.
To help you.
Exactly. And right off the bat, this movie lets you know, God damn it, we are not playing around. And this movie has legitimate children in peril, and actual bad things happen to kids. Okay, that's also something I should point out, too. If you have a problem with seeing children brutalized on screen, like this, you really should maybe.
I don't think it happens enough because there's so many movies, horror movies, where their kids are killing everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's the creepy kid killer thing has been beaten to death. It's good to see the kids kind of getting theirs now.
Seriously, in Macaulay Culkin and The Good Son, that whole thing could have been averted with one good ass whooping.
Just one.
Exactly.
Just one.
Tell him to cut a switch once.
Yeah, these kids have caused enough damage since he's even like a Pet Cemetery, another King property now. It's time the kids get theirs.
The Omen, you bend them over your knee and get that belt, whap whap.
These were good innocent.
She was gonna jump off the roof then. These were good innocent kids. You're right. On the subject of it itself, this movie pulled no punches in putting children in legitimate danger. And not that I'm for harming children, but I like that the movie did that. So many movies where kids are the star, that automatically tells you, okay, so the danger may seem real, but no one's really gonna get hurt. Like, no, children get hurt on screen.
It's like when Anakin kills the younglings.
Die.
What?
And it's a very important part. Threats. Yeah, and it's a very important part of the story is that not only is it the children are the ones that are the ones in peril, they're the ones in peril for a reason, and it ties into just children are the ones that still believe in things. They're not so.
That was used very well. Yeah. In this story, because I have to call out the acting right now. I was damned impressed that this was a cast of kids.
Yeah.
Because I'll say all but maybe one of them. And considering how shoddy his performance was shoddy, it may not be his fault. This was way beyond the age level of these kids and the performances you'd expect. Like the girl that plays Beverly, there are scenes where she's supposed to be scared, and dude, I would swear to God, this wasn't on film. I'm watching someone about to die in real life.
Now, how do you think they did?
Put the camera down, help her. You see that? It's one of those where it's it's just so well performed. You would not expect this level of acting from children.
Yeah, right.
And across the board. And I don't mean it's good for kids. I mean it's good. Period.
Yeah.
The kid that plays Bill, Most of the time, I bought him in this kind of like, you know what? I'm really trying to get out of my comfort zone because people need my help.
Yeah.
Feeling from him, you know? And it's a hard character to really get that from, because Bill is supposed to be more of like a repressed dude, you know, and it came out really well. Let me give out some names here, because it came out really well from these cats. This also, if anyone's familiar with the story, I should point out, focused on the children. Stephen King even said this is part on the children. Well, the story of it,
chapter 1,
stars the children and the adults,
and
and their adult selves. Yeah. This and had focused entirely on the kids. In chapter 1, I really liked it for that, because I don't like when movies try to cut. Well, you know,
this movie's broken up into chapters.
As far as we know. But okay, here's a good thing about that. It is because the story of it is in chapters. And it does take place more than just the kids' interactions. But the way this is filmed, the way this is presented, it's not as if this could stand on its own. It's not as if this is reliant on, well, there's going to be a sequel, so you don't feel like...
Yeah, there is. We already talked about it. Like, we have details already.
This was a complete story in
itself. It was a very steady, very linear approach to a story that is originally bouncing back and forth between past and present.
Yeah.
And this one doesn't do that. It just focuses, as you said, strictly on the kids. And by doing so, it has a very linear, very easy to follow storyline. Not that this is a simple, non-complex story. This is a complex story. There's a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of nuances that are happening, especially with the townspeople, right?
The townspeople did not come up that much in this. It
came up enough to make you sort of... At the very least, for people that are somewhat familiar, I was recognizing all of the things, and it was subtle. I was recognizing each and every one of them. I'm like, yes, this is good.
Okay, no, well said.
And recognize them as what?
I couldn't have said it any better myself, because I'm sorry, what?
I don't get what you're saying. So you recognize the townspeople as what?
Oh, the townspeople, they were used as almost plot devices. There are certain townspeople that really move the story forward and offer a perfect reflection as to why Pennywise has been able to
thrive in there. Okay.
Exactly, for as long as he has. And we kind of get a sense of how old Pennywise is, how long Pennywise has been terrorizing this town. It all takes place in Derry, Maine, which I'm not sure is a real place. It may be. If I'm talking out of my, let me know. Write us a letter at geek-down.com. But
people in Derry, Maine, of course we exist.
Well, I know Derry, New Hampshire, but Derry, Maine is out of my jurisdiction. So I apologize, but that's the setting for this movie, and the townspeople, they're just used to it. The adults, they don't want to think about it. No one wants to think about something so horrible, so they've kind of erased it from their memories.
Kind of like in
things happen, they justify it with these really shoddy excuses. Or the children told me about this horrible thing. Well, that's just kids telling weird random stories out of school.
Like in the Sunken Place, almost. It sounds like they would describe them.
Almost. Like, Pennywise has this town so damn shook, so shell-shocked, that the adults that have some authority and maybe power to do something to help stop him have completely negate his existence.
For multiple reasons.
For multiple reasons. Including when they investigate things that are happening right in the moment. The children see the horror going on. The adults are completely oblivious to it. And that's something that is done so amazingly well in this, when it's not really a spoiler because it's a scene that's well known, but the way they portray it in this, I won't give too much detail in this. I'll just say when the father, Beverly's father, approaches her scene with the blood, and she has lost her damn mind. She is hysterical, and he's just looking at her like, I don't see a problem. What's wrong here? And you as the audience is just like, yo, this dude is, it was one of those moments where it's like, that's your reaction. There were so many of those moments that I was not ready for, and I walked out of there like, this is 10 times the movie that I expected it to be. I walked in thinking it'd be another quick cash grab.
I think a lot of people did. I think that's what, like I said, with the word of mouth, because I think most people were like, "Yeah, what's this movie?" You know what I mean? And it was wildly popular. Yeah,
it's gotten a lot of hate from critics, and the hate.
No, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. Definitely some, but it's definitely got a lot of love. Most of the critics I read that are like serious critics, I think it's definitely.
I think it's
more positive than negative.
I think it's just it's doing so well and it's being received so well because the underlying story that it's based off of is so well written and so well developed. I actually think that the director did a pretty poor job on some high level decision making.
Really?
For doing some of the things that were done here. For example, I did not like the overuse of CG at all. There were moments that practical effects would have went way further than the heavy use of CG. Every single thing
with Pennywise, right?
Not just with Pennywise, with some of the forms that Pennywise took did not need to be CG, yet it was CG for no good reason, and it kind of pulled me out.
I've got to disagree because now we can talk about the original miniseries because this ties directly into that. Some of the stuff, like they did a lot of unique stuff in this new movie, which I loved, but some of the stuff in the original miniseries actually use practical effects, and I understand
that was in the 90s.
Exactly, I understand there's a range of time. But I thought that it served to make this more supernatural. It served to make Pennywise look more like this threat that has these different supernatural abilities that does things that are otherworldly. If you try to do them all with practical effects, one, it would have boosted the budget, and it would have it would have showed.
Not all. Here's my example. So there can be moments of CG, and there has to be moments of CG. But here's one in very much in particular that did not need to be CG and could have been practical, which was right outside of the house with Eddie and his fear that he encountered, where it was essentially a zombie.
Ah, yes, the leper.
And the leper. And it did not need to be a full head-to-toe CG character. That could have been
I disagree with you, because that was one of the creepiest things I have ever seen. And it just comes out, and it's beautifully shot because he gets right in the camera, and you see detail that is gross. And I don't think you could have achieved that properly, unless, I mean, granted, it has been done. Freaking H.R. Geiger's designs were made specifically for this, and Cronenberg has made a name off doing designs that would have been perfect for that scene, but that's not what you have. And the way they did it with the CG, I thought was perfect, because it was supposed to be creepy and gross, and it was creepy and gross, and it was quick. They didn't like hold on anything for too long and really let you see the nooks and crannies.
I beg to differ. You could see the seams, right? You could see the silhouette of CG. I wasn't looking. It was just there.
Right.
Very apparent.
This is just an argument of taste, though. I think so. I don't think
so,
it's,
because there are different scenes I thought where the CG took it above and beyond what any iteration of it would have been expected to do. Like when he starts coming out of. Well, okay, no spoilers. So when he did everything he did in that garage, that was nuts.
Great. That the basement, that was also great.
Oh yeah.
Loved it.
And in the freaking house, like just with okay, it's rare that I'm watching a movie, and Adam, you can appreciate this because you watch a lot of movies. It's rare that you're sitting in a movie and you catch yourself reacting like the characters are reacting. You know, and it's one of those where when Richie was in that room, and I understand that was a specific horror to him. We're getting a little inside, so I won't harp on this too long. Deep, I'll just say when Richie was in that room and we see how his fear manifests, that wasn't one of my fears, but I felt his his tension to the point where I caught myself like watching the movie, and this is for the people who are watching on camera. I caught myself watching like, oh, I'm in the theater. Calm down.
I think what Roger Ebert calls a bruised forearm movie. I know what I mean? You grip someone's next to his forearm and you're like, I don't realize it. But
it was great like that.
Is the scares in this, is it mostly like jump scares, or is it just like kind of like this building sense that is it kind of just like pop out at you stuff? Is there a lot of that?
It has a good split, because there were several jump scares. There were far more jump scares than I expected, especially knowing the story of it. It felt like they did force a few extra in, but it wasn't excessive. I thought if they did it, it'd be excessive. I feel like they got just enough that it worked for effect, and then the rest was different.
Interesting when you're talking about being scared and having fear.
Well, yeah, Pennywise in this story is more of a thriller villain. Than the
traditional jump scare.
Cerebral horror villain that he is in every other iteration of it.
Right. Well, some of the scares themselves, it could have been handled better. I feel the jump scares, they're in there, but they were used a little bit too much for what could have been handled in a very different way that would be more fitting for it itself, right? It's
Dude,
feeding.
I just can't win with you with this, can I?
Well, it feeds the nature of what it is and how it feeds, and it even says it within it, like it's feeding off of fear in a very particular manner, and the way it's trying to extract it in some of these scares just doesn't make sense. But in other instances where Pennywise is interacting more in a sort of laid back and just being this foreboding thing that's very much present, its presence is there, but doesn't charge at the screen or pop out of something, that works way more than the cheaper sort of scares that they're trying to pull. And those are the parts that I thought could have been absolutely handled better, especially for what it is.
Okay, I can see that, and I do love that we keep having to say it, and we're talking about it, and this is about it, because the freaking movie's called It. So it sounds like we're just like, it did the thing, and then it did this, and then it did that, and it sounds like it's a shot of speech. But it's just, that's what the freaking thing is called. We can't help it. I see what you're saying. I can't say I agree with you, but I mean, that's a good thing. We're getting like two different sides here, because I myself am friggin' jazzed about this. I know we're running really low on time, so I'll just say two more things about it real quick. I have to call out, dude, Henry Bowers in this, like, the kid that played him was freaking nuts. Yeah. And he portrayed this little SOB, like this psycho that I was scared of. Grown ass man afraid of like this psychotic 15-year-old, because this kid was crazy and he's just a psycho from beginning to end, and he's got that look, that friggin' punk kid look with like the skinny ass arms with the spike bracelet and the cut off t-shirt. And I know I'm describing you, Johnny. I'm sorry.
But that's me with the mullet and everything.
He's got the mullet, man. The friggin' mullet. The movie takes place in the 80s. They did change the time period from the original story, which is good. It made it more
instead of like what was it, like the slick the hair back thing that they had in the 50s?
Yeah, instead of the ducktail, he's got the mullet. It made sense. Kid drive the Trans Am, everything. They had it was
that car. Oh man,
nice car. And dude, the ending of this one is the most satisfying ending to this type of movie I think I've ever seen. Because there's so many movies, we finally persevered and things, and we got a lucky shot off, or the time period expired, or something